Yes. Welcome in to Triple B Buzzer Beater Banter. This is episode 7. We had some technical difficulties yesterday, but we got everything together. Today's guest is Jarrett Reed, aka 5 of Boot Crew Media. We have a very good conversation with about Zion Williamson, and we discuss everything about the Pels, what our expectations are for the Pels in December and January. We also talk about Reed's come up in the media among who's impressing us with this team. We have a great episode for you. So without further ado, let's get into that right now. Hello, Triple B Nation. And look, with all the Zion Williamson stuff, I had to go get one of my favorite Pelicans guys. I got a couple guys who, when things are going wrong with this team, I call them and say, yo, what's up? This is one of them. We got my boy Jarrett Reed, aka 5 of Pro Pels Talk, coming on the show. How you doing, 5, brother?
What's up, man? Hey, Lynn, you know my real name is Jerry, right?
Okay, wait. I've been knowing you for like two
yeah, that's
years
all,
now.
I got a couple aliases out there, but it's all great, dog.
Great. Okay, so we got Jarrett Reed in a bit. My bad. I go off his Twitter. I thought it was.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Man, that's hilarious.
I take the government, I leave the government, to the corporate America joint, and then I just rock with the 5. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, all right. Well, good to know. We got Jarrett Reed, aka 5 of Pro Pels Talk, in the building. So let me ask you. You didn't win from someone that I knew that called into me and Norm show. Tonight you asking Zion questions on the sideline. Oh, not on the sideline, in a media press after the game. Tell me about your story for those that don't know.
Man, it's been crazy. But yeah, man, that was a minute ago. We used to chop it up all the time, just talk Pels and stuff like that. Yeah, Norm was living in Louisiana at the time, I think, right?
Facts.
Now he's in Charlotte.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the journey's been kind of crazy. Just chopping it up with people, talking Pels, and then somebody reached out to me from Pro Pels Talk, Justin, shout out to them, and he was like, "Hey, come on the pod." All right, did the pod. It went well. He was like, "All right, well, come back on the pod. How about we just kind of have you, doing this and that, and we'll pay you." I'm like, "All right, bet." It's kind of like a little side hustle. I like talking basketball, so it wasn't really a problem with me. That turned into, hey, they kind of talked to me. I went to school for broadcasting originally, then I just went the PR route just because I can use that degree a little bit more. Boom. I still wanted to write a little bit. Started writing, covering the team, asking questions, and yeah, man, just kind of snowballed into what you kind of see today. Now it's interviews with CJ McCollum during media day. Now it's questions with Zion. Although he's getting a bad press, and I know we'll talk about it.
Definitely
will. I think there's a little bit of a misconception going on right now.
I agree. Now, let me ask you, just because I know that there's been content creators that watch my program, that look for advice, what would be your advice to anyone that's trying to do what we do?
Probably the number one thing is like to try to be consistent. I mean,
Facts.
I even struggle with that at times. Just stay consistent at what you want. Like, who cares? I mean, of course, we want people to like our stuff, of course, or especially people that are around what we're around. But if you like it, bro, and you're not harming anybody, go for it. Like, just continuously try it. And eventually the people that rock with you and you feel like you know what you're talking about, that's another key. Don't just be out here saying something that you don't even believe yourself. Like, if you believe it and you feel like it's true and it's researched and it's like you have ideas and you can back up those ideas with facts, go for it, bro, and be consistent about it. That's all you need.
Hell yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Consistency is the key. And like you said, like even myself, I told my audience when I went to the radio station, some things went to the wayside, some things didn't, but it's about being consistent with your fan base and communicating with the people who watch your show. Because like you said, whether it's 1, whether it's 5, whether it's 50, you got to be honest with them because they support you.
Yeah, for sure. Be honest with yourself.
That too. Yeah, facts. 100%. So let's get into it. The Pellies. Oh man, I feel like the Pellies have had 4 lives this season. We've had the start, the CJ gets injured, Zion gets injured, Brandon gets injured time. Brandon Zion come back. We have that time where they're not getting, then we have the team meeting, the famous meeting. And then after the meeting, things start to go well. And it's like, okay, we're on the up and up, getting in the in-season tournament, winning. Oh, man, go to the game against the Lakers. And then it seems like we live another life. And now we're in the post. And the Charles Barkley Shaq comments. I think those comments were way more nuanced than Stephen A. Stephen A was just, don't even get me started. I saw you tweet this morning. You're absolutely right. We'll get into that. But Stephen A was just going for clicks and ratings where Shaq, maybe more so than Charles, Shaq actually cared about Zion. You could tell in the tone of how they spoke, it got progressively worse. And when Shaq chucked Stephen A. And now Zion drops 36 and no one's really talking about it, like talking about after that win, which we knew would happen because it wasn't the main stage. But where do you feel this Pels team is right now, post all of what has just happened, transpired?
Let's just leave that stuff off to the side. Like, this team has had, like you said, multiple lives, like a cat. Like, they're on their fourth or fifth life at this point, and we're only like a couple months into the season. But you have to allow this team to somewhat fail. Right, they have some really good highs and some really bad lows. I compare them to Vladimir Guerrero. Right, Vladimir Guerrero is like, he'll swing at something up here, but he'll swing at something terrible at his feet. It's like their strike zone is so high, and it's like so much room for failure. But you have to allow this team to fail. I mean, this is Willie Green's first opportunity at coaching CJ McCollum, Zion, and Brandon Ingram,
the actual team,
healthy, with like a healthy second unit. And this is like the first time he's actually been penalized for not playing a guy like Jordan Hawkins, because he just doesn't have time for him to get on the court. So it's I've been saying this for weeks, like it was going to come to this, where it was going to happen, where you're going to have good problems. And that's what you're kind of seeing from this team, where they're just trying to figure it out. I get it. They lost terribly to the Lakers. 40-point loss should never happen, especially on the stage like that. But I also think it was a good thing. I know most people won't see that, but I think it's a good thing. Like, oh, we aren't as good as we think we are. And there's another level that we'll have to reach. So I always like to, sometimes it's good to, learn in winning, but sometimes you need those L's, like those real L's to be like, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Or
a humbling moment.
Maybe, yeah.
And not only that, Reed, is like, when you look at the playoffs, all young teams go through it. To get to that next level, you have to lose. And maybe, just maybe, this is why the in-season tournament will be good, because you get teams like the Kings, teams like the Knicks, teams like the Pelicans, who need that playoff experience if they want to get to that next level. Maybe this gets the Pelicans experience before we get to May.
Yeah. Think about this. This team has beaten the Timberwolves, the Nuggets. Let's see, another good team. The Kings three straight times, right? Like, these are all teams that are top of the West. Like, no, this team knows it can be good, but you just can't lose to teams like the Jazz and back-to-back, games. You can't lose it to the Rockets. You can't lose. There's another team, Chicago, when they're almost trying to lose. Like, there's so many. Again, there's so many highs and there's too many lows. You kind of have to find that happy medium.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's the major thing. And it's like, you can't play down the competition. I'm glad you play up to competition, because that used to be a problem with the Pels, where it flip-flopped. I know you remember the AD era, where we would play good against bad teams, but against good teams, we would just poop the bed. But now it's like, okay, we're playing up to our competition, but you can't play bad against bad teams. It just won't work.
Not 1,000%. Like, that's the sign of a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Can you beat the teams that you're supposed to beat? And most of the time, or some of the time, beat the teams that you're, fighting neck and neck with. Like, you're going to have those losses I expected them to lose to a Denver.
Yeah.
Right? I would expect that. But
I expect the Kings to get one off them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Kings.
Right. But yet you beat that team 3 straight times, twice at home, and then you beat them in a very important game, which are a high intensity game.
That's
like,
the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, fans and I guess even in myself, like a part of the media now, like, no, I should expect more out of you because you show me that you have the capability of doing so. Like, fans are not wrong in that aspect. But on the other side, like, you can't lose to other teams and be mad that someone else is mad that you lost to these teams that you shouldn't have lost to.
Facts. No, 100%. Now let me ask you, how do you feel? Because we got to talk about it before we talk about the positives. I'm gonna get the negatives out the way early.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Zion Williamson? Because I think it is, everybody I've talked to, it's nuanced. It is a nuanced situation because if you look at the way he was playing before, yes, he was getting points. Yes, he was active, but he wasn't always active on the defensive side. That's something we've known he needs to upgrade. And the more he plays, the more he'll get into shape. So I'm not too worried about that necessarily. But maybe it was the effort against LeBron James that I didn't like, and the effort in that game that I didn't like. I don't necessarily think the comments that were said after were necessary at all. I think there's a way you could have said what we're about to say without saying the man eating the table. Like, come on, bro.
That's just weak. That's some just bullshit.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Listen, if you want to talk about effort, let's talk about effort for the entire team.
Facts.
Let's not just, if you're going to talk about effort, like, yeah, Zion didn't play to his standard, but neither did anybody else.
Facts. Brennan had 9.
Yeah, like, bro, and I said this in my article. If you guys want to read it, go ahead. We'll link it up some way, somehow. But like, yo, I've been to Vegas. I've caught the Vegas bug before. I know what that feels like. I wouldn't be able to play a basketball game after, having a day or so and having a good time in Vegas. I wouldn't.
And it doesn't help? The video. Video with both of them where it's like, we about to have fun.
Exactly. So you'll never see me criticize that team for not, playing up to par in that game. By the second quarter when Bron hit those threes, bro, I went to bed at halftime. Oh no.
When he shot that deep 3, I said it was over. I knew at that point. I was like, it's done.
Yo, the Pels, like, cool, they lost that game. I'm not really tripping. They got to Vegas. They got a trip to go to Vegas. They ended up with some kind of bread. I know the NBA probably gave them for just getting there. Cool. That's fine. They probably spent it while they were there, had a great time, had some wonderful memories. They'll probably talk about it with between themselves. But I honestly think it kind of made them closer, because one thing I really want to talk about after the 36 and 5 performance he had last night, this was the first time I've saw Zion, like, his level of maturity just stood out. I'm not saying that, like, he wasn't mature before this, but I'm talking about last night. It was a very contrite, very honest. He answered every question. He wasn't short. He understood what somebody was saying. If he didn't, he asked. Like, this seemed like Zion growing up. And that's why I don't like the fact of, like, people trying to, Stephen A. taking credit for, oh yeah, I said it out loud. I said he was fat. Like,
and then blaming New Orleans. I saw your tweet. I was like, what is this? He did that. He actually did that. That's crazy.
How can you sit back and just say, yeah, this is the source that I got? Bro, you can't even tell us who the source is, because you will probably say it'll go against his journalistic integrity. But yet you called someone fat on national TV.
Can't do that.
In an era that you're not supposed to do.
But
yet, you have this journalistic integrity. You can just say whatever you want now. But now you have a conversation with Zion's dad, and now you're gonna, I'm gonna double down on it, and then I'm gonna take credit, but yet blame the city of New Orleans, bro. You know how many people come to New Orleans and eat at these restaurants and never get bothered? Bro, one of my best friends is a head chef at a famous restaurant here. One of my good friends from high school. And he's had Beyonce, Jay-Z, CJ McCollum. And he says they come in, no one bothers them.
They eat in peace.
No, eat in peace, because that's the type of environment. No chef is like, I can't wait for Zion to pull up. Like, no,
and let me call Stephen A. and tell him.
What? You don't even say New Orleans correctly. So I know for a fact No one's calling you, bro.
Yeah.
Let's just stop that noise.
No, I'm with you 100%. So, okay. So, like you said, I'm glad we had you there and we're able to talk to you today about it. You saw him at media day after the summer he had in coming back to the team compared to this. You would say this is his most mature moment, which I think is interesting to show that he's had all these things and he's learned from these moments and maybe finally put it together on how to, I don't want to necessarily say how to be a professional because it has to be consistency, but at least for this instant, he showed maybe what grown-up Zion looks like.
Man, listen. I think Zion's like 23 years old.
Facts.
Brother, listen. I wish we could compare what I was doing at 23 years old, right?
Terror.
Like, yo, let's not even get to it. And he has like $250 million, right? Like
facts. We was doing that broke.
And then the weight of the world's been on his shoulders since he was 16 years old.
Facts.
What are we doing here? So yeah, I want to talk about the growth that a young man is taking steps to. Also, I went to his Zion gave away a bunch of sneakers.
Oh yeah, his event.
His Zion 3 at Sneaker Politics, cool event. And you could just see the environment and the people of New Orleans there. And they're surprised, like he surprised them with these shoes. He didn't just like, hey, yo, sign up for this event and I'm gonna give you free shoes. No, he surprised everyone with shoes and appeared and answered questions, talked to moms. There was this one mom that talked about how Zion did something and it was like it made a difference in the kids because she was a teacher. Like, bro, it's so much that this dude does that goes unnoticed, but yet we want to sit back and talk about he's not this. And somebody, matter of fact, I posted a Propels Talk. We posted a clip of Zion during like his pregame warm-up. And people in the comments talking about, oh, he's out of shape. See, there's no effort in the pregame. Bro, we're talking about the pregame
warm-ups. Yeah.
Have you guys been around basketball before? Like nobody's going full out. They're just trying to get a sweat going, get the movement going. So when they get in the game, they're ready and primed to go. But you guys critique everything. I'm in the media and I don't even do that shit.
Yeah, facts. No, 100%. And I think everything you said is fair. And that's the problem that fans need to see almost. And that's where we as fans need to give a guy like Zion maybe a little slack here and there. Like you said, he's 23 years old. He's going to have ups and downs. But as long as there's more ups than downs, then I think that's a win.
Yeah, and it is a win. Now, again, some criticism is warranted, right? Like,
facts.
Yeah, Zion needs to be in shape. I don't think he's admitted that himself.
Yeah,
this is not like but he's also trying to figure it out as he goes, right? Yeah, there's certain things he could have done better. There's certain things the organization could have done better. But that's not like who cares about what they could have done? Like what are they doing now?
Yeah,
yeah, like what's happening now, right? Like the goal is to get Zion healthy throughout the season to get him to the end. They're trying to create this on the go. They brought in the best medical people. They brought in, they switched staff. They switched head coaches. Like, you don't think the organization has tried to get help for Zion? But also, it's like, this isn't a organization versus Zion thing. This is a Zion versus Zion thing. That's it.
With the organization helping. Yeah, facts.
Yes. And trying to uplift him, right? Not put the weight of the organization on their shoulder, which it is, right? This team goes as far as Zion takes them, but also helping him take them to a certain
where they got to get. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And that's the goal of the organization. It's like we have to move simpatico. To your point, we're going to get rid of these people. If that's not working with you, we're going to bring in the people that we think can work with you, because the goal is for us to move together, not battle each other. It's never for us to battle each other. And speaking on that, I think we saw last night and leading up to the in-season tournament and even in the Kings matchup, we saw this team play good basketball. What do you think have been some of the strengths this season in this team as compared to last season?
I think they're finding their roles, right? Like, I don't think which is a good thing, this team has not hit their stride, right? They're still trying to figure it out. Unlike the Kings, like, the Kings have to play a certain way to win.
Yep.
They're going to try to get up and down the court. They're going to try to outscore you. and play somewhat of situational, defense. But the Pels is like, no, they can beat you in multiple ways. There's multiple opportunities. There's like Willie Green's trying to teeter with the lineup a little bit, trying to figure out who works well together. And that's all a process, which is a good thing. Also, there's somewhat of an uncertainty, but it seems like a good motion to move. I think December will tell us what this team is really working towards, right? Because there are some, I mean, although we've talked about it, they lost to some teams that they shouldn't have lost to, but December will tell us, like, okay, is this a good team? Yeah, January 1st, we know. And then they play the Lakers again, December 30th.
Let's see how they look then. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see how they look then before we just cast judgment on, if this team is a, failure or success.
100%. Who has impressed you the most outside of Zion and Brandon Ingram with their play and what they have contributed to this team? Because it's a lot of names. I could go CJ, Herb. Like, there's a lot of names you could go to.
It's probably those two first. Matter of fact, I'm gonna throw in a wild card. CJ, Herb, and Jonas.
Oh, okay.
Those three have been like model professional citizens to me, basketball players, right? Like, they come in every day, like, what you're gonna get from them. They could lead your team if they need to. They can knock down clutch free throws. They make great plays. They make great plays for others, and also they do things that make them great. So I thought CJ, as soon as the ball tipped off the first game, like, he looked like he was in mid-season form.
Yeah, he was ready.
He looked like he was ready to go, and that just looked like a guy that was. It didn't look like a guy that was coming off a torn labrum and a torn ligament in his thumb that had surgery, and then worked himself back into the best shape. I think David Griffin said during media day, CJ looked like he was the best player in the gym every day. So to see a guy that's in year, I believe, 11, that dedicated, and then you look at a guy like Jonas that could give you a double-double on any night, battling with Gobert, battling with Gobert and Cat, fighting for rebounds, and also playing well. Like bro, like guys like that, and Herb had 10 rebounds last night.
And the fact that his jumpers finally falling is making him so much better.
Like, bro, you can't. That dude's the hooper. Like, those three are hoopers, and you can't really just say like they aren't pieces around Zion and Brandon. Like, no. The pieces are in place. Now, it's like cooking gumbo. Like, no, bro, you got what you got. You better make something work with what you got right here, because this seems like some good pieces. This that Billy's meat. Pause. Like, this that. Yo, this that work right here.
Yeah.
Like, you can make something work with this.
You got everything you need. And see, I think David Griffin and Trajan Langdon deserve a lot more credit, because the pieces we saw maybe the last couple of years, they weren't healthy. The main guys, the chicken and the sausage wasn't healthy, but the chicken and sausage is healthy. Well, now the carrots can shine, the celery can shine, the bell pepper can shine, the rice can shine. It's beautiful when you have chicken and sausage.
Yeah, because you can make chicken and sausage with anything, but in them cold months, and you need something to warm you. Hey, yo, you got to mix it all together. And this is who I'm just, David Griffin and Trajan Langdon. There are some, I think some stuff can be criticized, right? Like, some picks are like, okay, when you look at them, like now,
Kyra, Jackson, yeah.
In retrospect, you can be like, wish you would have done that there, but you got to look at it like, oh, well, they did get Herb at 35,
and then Trey, and then Jose.
They did go, go back in the draft to get Trey, and then use that pick, and eventually, I think that pick ended up helping them get CJ. Like, you can't just be like, they're bad at what they. No. They're pretty good. It's just, now, can Zion and Brandon and CJ make this gumbo work
and make everything come together? 100%. I've seen a lot of fans say that maybe we need a 6-man veteran off the bench. How do you feel about that comment? I've heard some people say, well, no, if you stagger Brandon and Zion, you don't necessarily need that. Some people say you need an extra veteran. How do you feel about potentially adding someone before trade deadline? or are you with just keeping this team with what we got?
Now, I rather before the trade deadline, it better be very, very close before I can say that. Right.
Gotcha.
And I'm determining this off of December. Like, what does December look like for this team and going into January? Because the wheels fell off last year in January, and they went on a 10-game losing streak. Can we get to that point, right? Can we get to January 15th, January 25th, February 1st before we say, all right, let's make a trade and we know what this team is? Because you don't know. I mean, this was the first time. This is the second time last night where this team scored. Brandon, Zion, and CJ scored 20 points. Like, can we see a couple of those games?
Yeah,
can we just say, hey, we need to add a veteran? Now, I would love to have another guard. Like, that's something I've been preaching for a minute. But let's see what this team can do, and then let's make those decisions.
100%. And to that point about needing another guard, how do you feel about the big? You mentioned Jonas being one of the best this season, which he has been. And I know the talk last year was getting rid of Jonas, but Jonas has shown, hey, I fit with this team. Do you feel there's a backup big maybe they need, or where do you feel with the big situation as a whole with this team?
I think Jonas is the backup big.
Oh,
I know that sounds crazy, but I think Jonas is the backup big. The Pels have been getting away with playing small, right? And I asked Willie about this last night, and his answer was like, the key is rebounding, right? If you can get rebounding from the wings, like, you can play small and get away with it. I'm not saying like for an extended period of time or going against larger teams, but like, if you can get away with playing small and having shooters, I think that would allow, guys like Trey Murphy, if he's a better rebounder, you can do a lot more. You don't have to really worry about too much, because when there's a Zion, Trey, let's say you add a Herb, CJ, and just another wing, maybe it be Brandon or someone else off the bench. Well, if you can just rebound, or let's say Dyson, like, if you could just rebound really well, you could space the floor and then have Zion play mid post and kind of go from there. Like, there's many ways. 4 out, 1 in, and like, you can go crazy. What they gonna do? Help off Trey?
He can't do that. The only help gotta be Dyson, and then even then, Dyson cuts so well that when Zion has that ball, you can find the open cutter. No, this team offensively, I gotta give it to him. With Zion playing actively and playing the way we know him to play, the pieces work so well together because you have the Herb and Dyson cutters, you have the shooters all around. Can the shooters knock down? That's the question. And then how do you find the right lineups of the Jordan Hawkins when Matt Ryan comes back? Do you play him? You got Trey. Which combinations do you use?
I think those guys will get a lot of run because during the regular season, it's such an up and down pace. I expect Jordan Hawkins to have a really good January, right? Because I consider that the dog days of the NBA.
Got you.
Like, it's going to be tough for Brandon and Zion and CJ. Struggling, trying to get the All-Star break. You know who's going to want to play those games? Jordan Hawkins, Matt Ryan, Dyson Daniels. Like, those guys, like, I get a chance to play.
Yeah, let me show what I got.
And this is also, like, think about this, Trey's rookie year. When did Trey start shining?
True, in the January, February time. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. So no, that 100%. So, okay. So then I guess the final thing I'll ask you before we get you up out of here, because we will want to talk to you again towards the beginning of January to see where we are, how you view December. What would your goal be? We're not going to talk playoffs. We're not going to talk in the season. What would your goal be for the team to be by the end of January?
Somewhere between 8 games over 500.
Okay.
I think that's doable. Right now, you're 2 games over 500, so that's a doable thing. Now, Memphis is getting Ja back. You play them twice. I want to see you compete versus the Lakers. I don't know if that is a win or a loss. Like, nor do I care. But if you compete versus the Lakers and it comes down to a last-second shot and they just so happen to win, who gives a fuck?
Who cares? Yeah.
Yeah, like, but if you can come out with a win and you competed for 48 minutes? 48 minutes and you hooped, like, what?
What more can I ask? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Pop. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to bring you back around that time. We're going to talk about it, where they are. And I like this with you. We're going to look at it in incremental pieces and see how they can progress in these smaller pieces, because I think that can show you more about the team than looking towards that long haul. No, let's get to January first. That's the thing that stuck out with me in this conversation. Thank you so much. Tell the people where they can follow you on social media. Tell them where they can get your most recent article at and all your amazing work.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you having me on. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, Conrad Reed with the K, KONRAD, REED 5 on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called. Also on Boot Crew Media, bootcrewmedia.com. It's in the feature tab. My last article is consistently inconsistent, just about this team and kind of how they've been inconsistent, and hopefully we see a turn.
Heck yeah. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Five's article. Make sure y'all go follow him. And with that being said, let's finish up Triple B right here. I want to say thank you to Reed for coming on the show. Truly appreciate it. You can follow him at Conrad Reed 5 on Twitter. Follow me at LinBWT on Twitter, and follow the Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Be on the lookout. We have another episode coming with Nick Jeremy that will be out very soon today. Until then, have a good one and peace.